You won't believe that beneath the scorching sun in the Red Sea, a treacherous dance of risk and pursuit has taken center stage, painting a disheartening picture on those shimmering waters. The Red Sea, once a vital artery for global trade, now stands as a battleground, its waters stained with the remnants of conflict. The international community watches with bated breath, aware that the fate of maritime security hangs in the balance. Armed to the teeth, the Yemen Houthi rebels and their vessels emerge from the shadows, like ghosts haunting the night. They unleash a relentless barrage of rockets and missiles, aiming to cripple the naval vessels that dare to challenge them. But what drives these rebels to launch such audacious attacks? Is it a fight for independence? A desperate bid for recognition? Or perhaps something more threatening, lurking beneath the surface? Join us as we delve deep into the heart of this captivating saga to uncover the motivations, risks, and repercussions that arise when Yemen's Houthi rebels launch their assaults on Navy ships in the Red Sea. Over the past few weeks now, a startling series of events have unfolded in the Red Sea that caught the world's attention. Houthi rebels, driven by their support for the Palestinians, repeatedly attacked ships with potential connections to Israel. While their motivations seemed clear, there was more to this story than met the eye. Behind the scenes, Iran played a significant role in supporting the Houthi rebels. As tensions escalated, the situation reached a critical point after a U.S. Navy ship found itself in the crosshairs. 14 drones, launched from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen, approached the U.S. Navy's formidable warships. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the prowess of the world's most powerful navy. The Houthi rebels, wielding unexpected power, fearlessly targeted the U.S. Navy's warships. This wasn't just a fleeting skirmish. It was a significant geopolitical move, challenging the authority of the U.S. Navy, the guardian of international maritime order. Now, let's delve into the world of the Houthi rebels. Who are they, and what are their military capabilities? The U.S. Navy stands as a bulwark against their advances in the Red Sea. The Houthi rebels have launched regular drone attacks, but the U.S. Navy has successfully intercepted these threats. However, completely halting the Houthi assaults poses a significant challenge. The difficulty lies not only in military engagement, but also in the complex political and humanitarian dynamics of the Yemen conflict. Duncan Potts, a former vice admiral in the British Navy, highlights the challenges of executing military operations against the Houthi rebels. The situation is further complicated by the fact that many Houthi operations are launched from densely populated areas, making direct military action problematic and potentially counterproductive. Now let's talk about the Houthi rebels' weaponry. They possess land-fired missiles capable of traveling over 500 kilometers, as well as cruise missiles for shorter distances. In addition, they are equipped with drones, helicopters, and boats. In a striking display of their capabilities, the Houthi rebels managed to quickly overpower a large ship, the cargo vessel Galaxy Leader. Using a helicopter, they boarded the ship and took control of it. The audacity and effectiveness of the Houthi rebels' attacks have raised serious concerns. Their ability to challenge even the most powerful navy in the world is a testament to their determination and military capabilities. As this gripping saga continues to unfold on the high seas, the world watches with bated breath to see how the U.S. Navy and international forces will respond to this brazen challenge to maritime security in the Red Sea. Why have the Houthis attacked Red Sea ships? The attacks that have recently plagued the Red Sea region began in the aftermath of the Israel-Hamas war that started on October 7, 2023. The Houthi rebels, showing their solidarity with Hamas, announced their support and made it clear that they would target any ship traveling to Israel. However, it remains uncertain whether all the ships attacked were genuinely en route to Israel. In November, the Houthi rebels claimed to have seized an Israeli cargo ship, further escalating the tension in the region. Since then, they have continued their campaign of aggression, employing drones and ballistic missiles to target several commercial vessels. The frequency of Houthi attacks in the Red Sea has skyrocketed, increasing by a staggering 500% between November and December. The gravity of this threat has prompted major shipping companies to take swift action, ceasing sailing in the region altogether. The repercussions of these attacks have been felt across the industry, with insurance costs surging tenfold since early December. Renowned shipping firms such as Mediterranean Shipping Company, Maersk, Hapag-Lloyd, and oil giant BP have all diverted their vessels away from the Red Sea. The fear is that not only will fuel prices rise, but global supply chains will also face severe disruptions. It's worth noting that nearly 15% of the world's seaborne trade traverses the Red Sea, which serves as a vital link between the Mediterranean and Asia, offering the shortest shipping route for Europe-Asia trade. Amidst this turmoil, the United States has accused Iran of playing a deeply involved role in planning these operations against commercial vessels in the Red Sea. The allegations against Iran further complicate an already complex situation, adding geopolitical ramifications to the mix. As the attacks persist and shipping companies adapt their routes to avoid the Red Sea, the global community watches anxiously. The potential impact on fuel prices, supply chains, and the stability of the region looms large. How this dangerous game of cat and mouse will unfold, and what measures will be taken to secure the vital maritime routes in the Red Sea remains to be seen. Largest Red Sea serial attack. This brazen assault took place despite the United Nations Security Council's scheduled vote to potentially condemn the Houthi rebels and demand an immediate halt to their attacks. The rebels claim that their actions are intended to counter Israel's ongoing conflict with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. However, the targets of their attacks have increasingly had little or no connection to Israel. Instead, their actions now pose a serious threat to the vital trade route that links Asia and the Middle East with Europe. This development raises concerns about the potential for a retaliatory strike by the United States on Yemen, which could jeopardize the fragile ceasefire that has been holding in the impoverished nation. The attack unfolded near the Yemeni port cities of Hodeidah and Mocha. Ships in the area reported witnessing missiles and drones, with U.S. allied warships urging vessels to proceed at maximum speed. The private intelligence firm Ambri confirmed the attacks and provided additional details. In the Mocha incident, ships observed missiles being fired, a drone in the air, and small vessels tailing them. The U.S. military's Central Command described the assault as a complex attack orchestrated by the Houthi rebels. It involved bomb-laden drones, anti-ship cruise missiles, and an anti-ship ballistic missile. In response, U.S. F-18 Essie from the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, along with American Arleigh Burke-class destroyers USS Gravely, USS Laboon, and USS Mason, as well as the United Kingdom's HMS Diamond, successfully intercepted and downed 18 drones, 2 cruise missiles, and the anti-ship missile. The Central Command emphasized that there were no injuries or damage reported. The United Kingdom's marine trade operations also acknowledged the attack off Hodeidah. British Defense Secretary Grant Shapps described it as the most significant attack to date by the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. He also praised the HMS Diamond's successful use of Sea Viper missiles and guns to shoot down multiple drones. The repercussions of these escalating tensions in the Red Sea are far-reaching and potentially disastrous for global supply chains. As vessels are advised to proceed with caution and report any suspicious activity, the world watches with growing concern. The fragile balance in the region hangs in the balance, with the potential for further military engagement and severe disruptions to vital trade routes. U.S. Navy fights. In the pre-dawn hours, the Red Sea became a theater of conflict as the United States launched a series of strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The U.S. Central Command confirmed that the Navy destroyer USS Carney used Tomahawk land attack missiles to carry out a follow-on action against a Houthi radar site. These strikes were a response to the recent campaign of drone and missile attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea, which the Houthis claimed were in retaliation to Israel's offensive in Gaza against Hamas. The U.S. military and White House officials anticipated the Houthis would attempt to strike back, heightening concerns about a wider conflict in the already turbulent region. President Joe Biden, leaving the White House to spend his weekend at Camp David, addressed the strikes and their intended message to Iran. He stated that the message had been delivered privately, expressing confidence in the preparedness of the U.S. military. The responsive airstrikes against the Houthis, conducted the previous day, targeted 28 locations and struck over 60 targets. The strikes caused casualties, with the Houthis reporting at least 5 people killed and 6 wounded. The U.S. strikes focused on weapons, radar, and targeting sites across Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. Biden faced criticism from lawmakers who argued that he should have sought congressional authorization before launching the strikes. However, the president defended his decision, stating that he had provided a report on the strikes to Congress and asserting that the action was necessary to respond to the Houthis' outrageous behavior. The conflict in Yemen, which began when the Houthis seized the capital in 2014, has escalated into a protracted war. The Saudi-led coalition, backed by the United Arab Emirates, intervened in 2015 to support Yemen's exiled government, leading to a regional confrontation with Iran, which provided support to the Houthis. The Houthi-controlled territory now encompasses 2/3 of Yemen's population, exacerbating the country's already dire humanitarian situation. Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the Arab world, and the majority of its population faces food insecurity. The U.S. has a history of military involvement in Yemen, spanning multiple administrations. The campaign of drone strikes against al-Qaeda's local affiliate began under President George W. Bush and has continued under President Biden. Additionally, the U.S. has conducted raids and other military operations in Yemen. The recent strikes by the U.S. have drawn condemnation from Iran, which warned that such actions would only fuel insecurity and instability in the region. At an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, the U.S. and its allies defended the strikes as acts of self-defense, urging de-escalation from the Houthis. As the dust settles from the strikes, it remains to be seen how the situation will develop and whether it will lead to a wider conflict. The world watches with concern as the fragile stability of the region hangs in the balance and hopes for a peaceful resolution to the long-standing crisis in Yemen. Unresolved attack. In response to recent airstrikes on their positions by the United States and Britain, the Houthi rebels in Yemen expressed defiance and vowed to continue their attacks on Israel. They viewed the airstrikes as a violation of Yemen's sovereignty and accused the international forces of supporting Israel's agenda. In a statement released through the state-run Saba news agency, the rebels, who control significant parts of northern Yemen, including the capital Sana'a and the port city of Hodeidah, condemned the airstrikes as a blatant aggression. They reiterated their determination to carry out military operations against what they referred to as the Israeli enemy. The airstrikes were conducted in an effort to deter the Houthi rebels from targeting international shipping in the Red Sea, a crucial waterway for global trade. The rebels have intensified their attacks on ships that they claim are linked to Israel, aiming to show solidarity with the Palestinians and exert pressure on Israel to end its actions in the Gaza Strip. Despite the airstrikes, the Houthi rebels remain resolute in their stance and show no signs of backing down. The ongoing conflict in Yemen continues to have significant implications for regional stability and the security of international trade routes. The situation remains highly volatile, with the rebels' determination to carry out further attacks and the international community's efforts to mitigate the risks and maintain peace in the region. Consequence. The United States and the United Kingdom have issued warnings of potential consequences following an incident in which warships from both countries repelled a barrage of rockets, drones, and cruise missiles launched by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, stated that further attacks on international shipping by the Yemeni rebels could elicit a military response from the West. He did not rule out the possibility of bombing military targets to prevent future raids. Grant Shapps, the UK Defense Secretary, accused Iran of providing intelligence and surveillance assistance to the Houthi rebels. He emphasized that the attacks on warships and merchant shipping in the southern Red Sea were unacceptable and suggested that striking Houthi military targets on land was a possibility. the UN Security Council adopted a resolution condemning the Houthi attacks and demanding an immediate halt to them. The resolution, co-sponsored by the US and Japan, highlighted that the attacks obstructed global commerce and undermined regional peace and security. Speculation has arisen that the US and its allies, who have thus far responded reactively to Houthi attacks, may take preemptive action to prevent further disruptions to maritime trade. This could involve strikes on Houthi missile sites, radar stations, and other military installations. The recent incident, which occurred on Tuesday evening, has been viewed as an escalation. Despite a brief pause in attacks following a warning issued on January 3rd, the latest attack has changed the situation. The UK Defense Secretary suggested that people draw their own conclusions from this development. Suggestive responses. The series of Houthi attacks in the Red Sea has raised significant concerns and calls for a response from the international community. Several actions could be considered to address the situation. One possible action is to strengthen maritime security in the region. This could involve increasing naval patrols, improving intelligence sharing, and fostering cooperation among regional and international actors. By doing so, the aim is to deter and intercept Houthi attacks, safeguarding shipping routes. Condemnation and diplomatic pressure are crucial. The international community should strongly condemn the Houthi attacks and exert diplomatic pressure on Iran, which supports the rebels. Engaging in diplomatic efforts, such as United Nations resolutions and negotiations, can help address the root causes of the conflict and encourage a peaceful resolution. Given the dire humanitarian situation in Yemen, prioritizing humanitarian aid is essential. Providing assistance can alleviate the suffering of the Yemeni people. Simultaneously, efforts should be made to facilitate a comprehensive political dialogue and peace process to bring an end to the conflict. Regional cooperation plays a significant role. Actors with influence over the Houthi rebels, such as Saudi Arabia and Iran, should engage in constructive dialogue and work towards de-escalation. Collaboration among neighboring countries can help stabilize the region and prevent further escalation of the conflict. The international community may also consider imposing targeted sanctions on individuals or entities involved in supporting the Houthi rebels. Such sanctions can disrupt their financial networks and limit their ability to carry out attacks. To mitigate the impact of attacks on global trade, strengthening maritime trade infrastructure is crucial. This may involve investments in alternative trade routes and infrastructure projects to reduce dependence on vulnerable areas. Improving port facilities, diversifying shipping routes, and exploring alternative transportation methods can contribute to this effort. International cooperation is of utmost importance. Multilateral coordination among countries with interests in the region, such as the United States, European nations, and regional organizations like the Arab League, is vital. Working together, they can address the complex challenges posed by the Houthi attacks and find a comprehensive and sustainable solution. It is important to note that any response should prioritize the safety of civilians, respect international law, and seek a peaceful resolution that addresses the underlying causes of the conflict. International response. The need for a coordinated international response to ensure the safety and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea has become evident. In response to increasing Houthi attacks, the United States has taken the lead in creating a 10-nation multinational security initiative. This initiative aims to pool the maritime and defense capabilities of participating nations to create a deterrent against Houthi attacks that threaten ships and disrupt the global supply chain. The strategic importance of the Red Sea, through which a significant portion of international trade, particularly oil and consumer goods, transits, is highlighted by this initiative. By ensuring safe passage in these waters, the coalition seeks to stabilize the economic infrastructure of the region, which has been compromised by recurrent hostilities. The Multinational Security Initiative goes beyond military intervention and serves as a diplomatic gesture, showcasing a unified stance against threats to international peace and commerce. It involves nations from different continents, emphasizing the global nature of the issue and the necessity for a coordinated international strategy. The initiative serves not only to counter immediate threats posed by the Houthi rebels, but also to reinforce international maritime law, protect global trade routes, and uphold the principle of freedom of the seas. It sends a clear message that the international community stands united in the face of aggression and is prepared to take decisive actions to ensure the safety and freedom of shipping lanes. The situation in the Red Sea continues to evolve and has far-reaching implications for international politics, trade, and security. The future of the region will depend on the effectiveness of the Multinational Security Initiative and the broader international response to the ongoing conflicts.